Just days from the state election, rogue Labor MP Joanne Miller is causing headaches for the Premier, cozying up to One Nation leader Pauline Hanson. The pair hugged and joked at a polling booth in the southeast today. That's despite Annastacia Palaszczuk's repeated vow her party won't work with One Nation. Here's state political reporter Josh Bavis.
Hello, Pauline.
More like best friends than political foes.
Congratulations on your grandson.
Labor MP Joanne Miller in one heck of a picture opportunity with Pauline Hanson presenting a gift for the Senator's new grandson.
This is beyond politics. Yeah, I know. I'd love to be a grandmother.
One Nation isn't running a candidate against Mrs Miller in Bundamba. Now Senator Hanson has gone even further.
And I can see Joanne winning the seat. She's got the support of people here, and I think she will win the seat, and I think Annastacia Palaszczuk could learn a lot.
As news of their encounter reached Gladstone, the Premier was clearly stunned.
Well, I'm not very happy about that, am I?
Annastacia Palaszczuk has used every opportunity to show her disdain for One Nation. Earlier this morning, she didn't hold back.
I mean, it is inconceivable, and I have made it absolutely clear that I will do no deals with One Nation.
Well, that's her call. She's the leader of the Labor Party. If your leader's attitude doesn't change, people say you might end up being leader of the party.
The incident has undermined Ms Palaszczuk as she continues a regional blitz. She's visited 4 cities in one day, promising 100 new firefighters and a trade centre for excellence, costing more than $33 million. The Premier putting on a brave face, insisting she isn't angry with Mrs Miller.
And like I said, there's nothing wrong with being nice. I know I get accused sometimes of being nice. Should be some more niceness around.
But Tim Nicholls wasn't playing nice as he fronted the Media Club, repeatedly accusing Annastacia Palaszczuk of lying and One Nation of making promises it can't afford.
Why vote for a pretender? Why vote for an imitator when you can have the real thing?
He talked up his financial know-how, taking a dig at a gaffe by Ms Palaszczuk last election.
In terms of financial skills, well, I know what the GST rate is.
And he promised he would deliver.
I simply say, Queensland, that leader is me.
It was a serious pitch by Mr Nicholls, laying out his credentials and his party's promises, but he was non-committal when it came to how he would manage debt or what he would negotiate should a One Nation deal be struck. On Morning FM radio, he dodged the burning question.
Yes or no, would the LNP form government using One Nation support? Pass.
All fun and games, especially out at Ipswich.
Are you creating a cyclone?
Or perhaps a political storm.
Yes! Yes! You might be, Pauline.
This one hasn't blown over yet. Josh Bavis, ABC News, Townsville.
News of the Miller-Hanson encounter broke while the Premier was flying from Rockhampton to Gladstone. Annastacia Palaszczuk is now in Bundaberg. Live to Chris O'Brien, who's travelling with the Premier. Chris, how did Annastacia Palaszczuk react when she found out?
Karina, the Premier was flabbergasted. It was one of those unscripted campaign moments that can only happen on the road. The Premier had just landed in Gladstone. She was going to visit a school at Calliope when we in the travelling media wanted to know what she thought about the Hanson-Miller chumminess. At first, she didn't know what to think. She said she wasn't happy. Had a few minutes then to reconsider and decided the best tactic was to pass it off as some Joanne Miller niceness, which didn't undermine her anti-One Nation message. But I think it took a lot of self-control from the Premier not to explode there this afternoon at Joanne Miller.
OK, so Chris, has this undermined the Premier?
Yes, it does, because it completely contradicts, and blatantly so, the message that the Premier is sending out not to touch One Nation with a 10-foot pole. And these are bad visuals on this day, especially so close to the election. The flip side will be, though, that the Premier is hoping that voters haven't really had time or won't have time to absorb it all before Saturday. But Pauline Hanson not missing a chance to sink the boot in with a tweet late today to Joanne Miller saying, "Thank you for the gift to my grandson. Thank you for being one of the few politicians to put people before politics," and saying, hopefully Labor can learn a lot from you. But Karina, I think the Premier hopes it's the other way around.
Chris O'Brien will leave it there in Bundaberg.